Hey buddies, welcome to AmassGames. My name is Simon. Today I'm bringing you how to set up, play and review for the game Sutter's Mill. So, Sutter's Mill. This happens to be a windmill made in 1848, and as Mr. Sutter, who was actually having this mill created, the worker on it who was digging underground happened to find gold along the riverside where this watermill was going to be built. £300,000 people later came a year later in 1849, and of course that was the year of the gold rush. People came from India, they came over from China, from Australia, from Europe. They came from very far afield, and of course that gold rush lasted a number of years. In this particular game, we represent various prospectors. You can be various different colours, whether you want to be yellow, green, blue or red. And in this game, you're looking to get the most money, you're looking to get the most points. And you're doing that by being the person who can ultimately do best at landing and getting in to Coloma, where obviously Sutter's Mill is located, and doing the best at digging and mining and panning for the most gold, and then being able to pack up and leave. There's other similarities to other games which have made since, such as Deep Sea Adventure. Of course, in that particular game, what you're doing is you are going out and eventually you want to come back again. Same principle in this particular game. Now, it's quite an interesting game to explain because of the way it works. There are two key actions that you can do, and when you choose to take these actions, I will let you know that it's the bottom action, so not the first one that you read, that you tend to do first, which is a bit of a weird thing that you might discover. So, as you can see, you've got various different prospectors here. I've got one here that always start in the blue zone. Your various cards. This happens to be a game involving area control as well. And when you look, you will have various values in these poker cards. Each different colour person has a different style of backing to them as well. So the blue person over here happens to be like this. I've chosen red because I think it's a bit least like the board. Okay, so 2, 3, 4, 5. They go all up to 10. Then we have Jack, Queen, King and Ace. Just to let you know, these cards are worth 10, like the 10. Ace is worth 11. I'll explain that in a moment. So what are we doing? We are looking to leave the place down here, which happens to be in the water. There's giving me a gold vein running along, and right now I'm going to show you how that's set up. You happen to have individually baggied them. It doesn't come with this amount of baggies normally, but this has been recorded during the COVID-19 pandemic, and such I've been able to get some extra bags here. So various areas of this gold vein will have various amounts of nuggets on them. Each of these tokens represent a marker. They're called markers, gold markers, and depending on where you are mining, you'll get different values of gold nuggets. Each gold nugget is worth 1 victory point at the end of the game, but also currency. Yes, this happens to be a game whereby you are collecting money as you go and actually using that money to spend on further actions. It is found in other games. It's a very unique theme though when you combine it with the earlier idea of going out and coming back again, and that's what really appealed to me, the idea that you're going out and you're looking to actually, go out there, build up your town, build up your idea of doing a great job of actually prospecting, and then be able to set and get out of there. Because of course, if you're the last one left, there's no gold left, well, you haven't done a very good job because everyone's off there selling their gold whilst you still have yours. So as you can see, this will be laid out, that will be laid out, this is already laid out. Just to let you know, these have various values, just like in Deep Sea Adventure. So down the bottom here, these are values 1 to 3. So you really want to be lucky in getting a 3 if you can. Over here, it's 2 to 4, and over here, it's 1 to 3 again. It's important to lay these out. I'll tell you why. Because once all of these tokens have gone, the game will automatically end. The person taking that final turn, which triggering it, will finish their turn, and that's it. Aside from that, you have various locations. So these locations will give you an ability. It's very much a worker placement element to this game as well. So it's worker placement meets area control. You have this card, it's the separate card. It's not called a deed card, it's called the Lucky Strike. We happen to have various buildings here, the Adams & Co. Express Office, various names. And as you might have seen by the box, in fact, it happens to be a German box. I have German and Dutch rules. I have the player aids in German, but the board itself, as you can see, is actually in English. So rather an interesting combination there. And even though the player aids, like I said, are in German, I have them printed out in English, but they're still handy to use for this green and red motion. This represents your building. This means you're packing it away. But don't worry, I've got a separate information here, which does have all the information over here too, basically on two sides of a piece of paper. So what can you do on your turn? Well, let's talk about your two different actions. Firstly, you can take your worker, so currently they're down here, and you can bring them into town. When you bring someone into town, thematically, you've left the day, end of your day, and what have you been doing? Well, you've been mining, you've been gold panning in this kind of location. This being a blue location, so down here we have down in the river, up here in the hills, and up here in the mountains. So this third person takes the very first token down here. They will secretly look at it, and it happens to be brilliant, excellent. They've got 3 victory points is one way of looking at it. You also have 3 starting things as well. They're worth 1, 2, and 3, and everyone has these, and all in red. It's all hidden, but you can kind of see everyone's going to have the same thing. But this, of course, is definitely hidden. Just for this example, I'm going to leave it face up, though. Okay, so that could be one action. What you're doing, it's known as, is you are basically going out, you are panning for gold because you've just left your location and spent the day panning, and then what you're doing is you're doing business. You're bringing your worker into one of these locations. Why do you want to do that? Well, at the minute, all you can do is end your turn in one of these locations, and I'll explain what you'll be doing on your next turn. So somebody else does exactly the same thing. Maybe they bring their worker in as well. Maybe they go somewhere else. So now, that was the first action you can do, panning for gold and doing business. The second kind of action you can do is known as actions in town. Actions in town, there are 3 things you can be doing, and the way it works is you have various amount of actions. So as you can see, is actually in German, but action 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 costs you a different amount of actions. If you do 1 action, it'll cost you nothing. 2 actions will cost you 1, again, gold nugget or point. 3 actions will cost you 3 gold nuggets. 4 actions will cost you 8. 5 will cost you 15. So the more actions you want to do, and sometimes doing 5 is great, you'll actually be spending your victory points as well. So what could you do? Well, there's 3 things you can do. The first thing you can do is you can actually move. So if you want, you can actually go here and go, well, I don't want to be here, I want to be here. Another thing you can choose to do, so what that's known as, is just moving your prospector. The second thing you can do is actually bring out a new prospector, and you probably want to bring them out here, because when they bring themselves into town, it's because they spent the day mining, which of course will give you more victory points, more money. More money means you can have more actions. The third and final thing is the most important, and that's being able to place out a card. You're placing out a card which is known as an influence card, and let's say you're placing out a 2. You place out a 2 here. Now currently there's no other cards here by anybody else. They're all different colours. As you can see, they're all different backs as well, so you can tell it's blue. And right now, I'm controlling this location, so I get to take this deed. This deed means ultimately when I next do gold panning, so next come out from a blue location, I get an additional nugget to chip. So let's say I've just finished my turn, it's now someone else's turn, and now it's my turn again. Well, I've got 1 person here. If I want to, I could pan for gold and do business. So bring my work into town. Let's say I go here. Now I will be getting myself 1 chip because you get 1 of each person you bring across. So if I happen to have, I don't know, 3, I'll move all 3 out. I can move them to different locations if I want to. I'll leave 2 there just as an example. I'll take 1, 2, 3. Okay, I've got 3 locations, so I've got that. In addition to that, I will be getting 1 per deed. So if I've got more deeds, I'll get an additional 1. So you're going to get 1 marker per worker you're bringing into town, plus 1 per deed. So I bring 3 in, plus 1 deed. If I have more deeds, I'll take an additional 1, for example. So I've taken 3 plus 4. But because the special ability here is I can take a blue one, I'll take a 5th one. And suddenly we've used up a lot of this. You can see this game doesn't take very long. The game takes about an hour, maybe 70 minutes. And what you want to be aware of course, is not leaving your workers in the wrong location. So let's go back to the other action, just to give you a second turn of this. Right, what you can do is actions in town. The actions in town turn order is, in this case, you have 2 people. When you have 2 people, you can place up to 2 cards. It doesn't mean you can place 2 and then your next turn place another 2. You need to have more workers there. So now let's play, I don't know, let's play a jack, which is worth 10. And I might want to play another one. Let's play an ace, which is worth 11. And as you can see, they're laying on top of each other, just as per the illustration here. So right now that's worth 21. And now, that's my first action. I've placed out 1 for 1 action, 2 for 2 actions, and this last time around I forgot to actually pay anything, any action costs. So I've paid 2 actions here. Let's bring out my 3rd worker here, my 4th worker back here. Actually, do you know what? 4th worker goes there, 5th worker, let's leave it there. Okay, so that's my 5 actions done. And or 5th action maybe to place out another card. Okay, I spent 5 actions, I've got to win 15 money. Well, do I even have 15? I've got 3, 6, 9, 12, 13, 14, 15. So a huge, potentially inefficient turn there to do all that. Okay, and now it's somebody else's turn in a 2, 3, 4 player game. And now it's my turn again. Well, I could either do actions in town. Right now I've claimed these cards as well. And now just to show you as it's built up, because I've now built a bit of an engine going on down here, I'm now bringing one worker into town. Let's bring him over, say here. I'll be getting 1 nugget for bringing a worker, 2 nuggets because I've got this card, 3 nuggets for bringing this card, 4 nuggets because it's the amount of workers plus the amount of deeds. So I've got 4 more cards here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I've got the bonus here, which means if I'm getting a blue chip, I'll get an extra blue chip because I'm coming from this location. So I've got 5 things here now, again, and all that's coming to me, and suddenly that's gone around quite a bit. But the way this game varies, of course, is someone else goes, well, I really want this card, and people are going to fight you for it. A 2 is the lowest value, so someone else might go in there and play a 4 of their colour, and suddenly this card is no longer with me, it's gone to someone else. This will happen a lot, whether it be a 2, 3 or 4 player game. You may not even be able to even use your ability by the time it comes around, which is why you might want to go high. I'll come on to why there's a risk to this in a second. So as I said, you're looking to go out, do various actions, take cards, and of course use those extra abilities. Now, if you happen to have the least amount of deeds, not in a tie, but the least, you get to have this. This is a lucky strike. What this represents is when it's your turn to come into town, you can take one of these of your choice, but you have to still have had one thing left and it has to be in your location. So you can take one of them. So what else can you do? Well, we've talked about this location. It's obviously very strong in the beginning of the game because you're getting 7 additional chip. This one lets you shuffle cards around, which I'll come back to. This one, of course, is over here, which is a bit weak because it's towards the end of the game. Obviously down here is nice because these are the most valuable ones, of course, the middle of the game. Over here, it allows you to actually move a worker or maybe place a worker over here, 1 for free. So that saves you an action, which will save you, well, potentially 7 money because rather than spending a 5th action for 15, you're spending 4 for 8. Aside from that, you have this, which allows you to place an influence card for free again, just 1. Over here, this comes later. So let's talk about that in a moment. So right now, we're thinking what cards we have out. Why is it important to lay cards, and why is it important to play higher value cards? Well, higher value cards allow you to, of course, control the influence. What's the downside? Well, towards the game end, which around halfway here, people are going to start thinking, well, actually, I've done quite a nice job here. I might want to flip. Why do you want to flip? Well, once all of these chips have gone, or when someone's removed all of their workers, the game will end. So far, I've only ever seen it happen where all the chips have gone. When that happens, if you have any people left here, then you're going to lose victory points. So there's 2 ways to gain victory points, 2 ways to lose them. A way to lose victory points. If you have 1 worker left, you're going to lose 1 victory point. 2 is worth 3, so I've lost 3. That's worth 6, 10, 15. Okay, so you're losing 15 victory points. So how can you gain them? Well, you've been collecting nuggets all game long. That is going to be a way of gaining them. Now there's one more way to win victory points, one way to lose them, and these are these cards. Any cards left in your hand, when you happen to flip over and say, no, I'm tearing down, well, everyone can now see that you're on the red side, you can never flip back again. And suddenly, these cards can basically go back in your bag. What you're doing is, any cards left here when the game ends are worth negative victory points. So right now I'm losing negative 11, 10, 3 and 2. So that's negative 26. But if I happen to be able to pull these cards off, and pulling the cards off is just an action, as is laying them, then you're able to get yourself back. You're actually claiming 11 points. So it's 11 points, well, 22 point swing. So you claimed yourself 11 points. You might want to claim this one to claim another 10 more points. Over here, obviously, you might want to wait till the end. And one thing to be aware of is when other people are playing out their cards, they maybe put another card on top of here. If you remove this card, and this is on top, they get their card, they'll score it. So you want to wait for that. You want to make sure that they remove their cards first, you're not helping them too much. Finally, what you can do is actually rotate 1 card next to it. So imagine these are different colours. You might want to switch them around, depending which way you want to play it, to ensure that, of course, your card is near the top, so you can remove the card easier. And that's pretty much the game. You're looking to go out, you're looking to get some chips, you're looking to get these benefits as well, and of course you're using those chips to further power more actions. And then eventually, when you feel like you've done enough of digging, go, right, I'm now going to start packing up. Now, something to be aware of is if you happen to, say, be over here, and all these chips are gone when it gets back to your turn, well, when you come into town, there was nothing to dig there, so you've wasted an action potentially. Also, if you've got 5 people over here, well, that can end very quickly. When these cards are finally claimed, so when you start taking off your influence cards, and you happen to be in this location, then, once they've all gone, this card basically goes back to the box, and then an extra chip from the very end goes. Why that's important? Because of course the game's going to start speeding up and ending much quicker. As I said, the game doesn't feel too long. Hopefully, well, at least my opinion, I love the artwork. I think it's very nice. I like this kind of light brush effect. What I also like is the fact that, yeah, you're churning out to get money, to get actions, which are also victory points, but you then spend some of them to hopefully get more, obviously to get more actions, which enables you to power up better. In terms of negatives, I find that, and there's negatives in every game I've ever played, obviously it takes a little while to get used to. When you're watching this video, by all means I reckon watching it a couple of times, is the fact that you've got to be aware when you want to flip. It doesn't matter too much. I've seen people win by staying out very late, everyone else has turned back, and you're still there getting stuff, getting new abilities. As you can see, it's nicely color-coded. So whilst you're on the green side, whilst you're actually, setting up, you're able to get bonus actions of moving your people around, and of course playing influence card. When you flip over, you're able to actually obviously remove your people and also remove cards. So that's very impressive too. But like I said, the action of coming out here isn't necessarily as strong as just choosing to bring people out initially. Because as I said, if you're bringing out one person, you're getting one chip. But in your first action, you choose to go 1, 2, 3. 3 actions is going to cost you 3 money, just as it states here. Obviously, there's an English player aid as well online. I do use that too. 3 actions cost me 3. The next turn, that's going to get me 3 of these. And the law of averages, I'm actually going to do better, as I have got 6, so I've gone way better. Aside from that, like I said, these cards, they do change hands quickly, and especially at a 4-player count, you're only going to notice these do move around a bit. I have played this at every single player count, 2, 3, and 4, and in a 2-player game, and the second game is a 2, with the same opponent, it turned out that whilst I won the first game with a score of 109 to 91, the second game we really tuned in to how to really screw each other over, and our scores went down dramatically into the 40s and 30s. I think I lost 36 to 48. So it's very interesting how that works. I like the cards, I like the tokens. I think the quality is very nice linen finish as well. Like I said, I love the artwork specific to each individual colour. And yeah, I think it's a good output by Flanks. My rating is 7 out of 10. Like I said, the colour coding is good. When you, of course, use up your red chips, you can just chuck them back in your respective bag so you can know who's working with what. Any questions, please, of course, let me know in the description or the comments. In the description, you can, of course, follow, and on Instagram, you can support via Patreon. And aside from that, you can actually go across to share. Obviously, you can share, subscribe, you can hit the like button. But also, if you go through to the playlists, you can follow other things such as how to set up, play, and review, other games in this kind of family weight playlist as well. This game is from 2008. Obviously, many mechanics have been borrowed in other games since. Please let me know your thoughts. I look forward to speaking to you again very soon. This has been Sutter's Mill.